What's up, guys? A couple of weeks ago, I got a request to do a video where I look at different mock drafts and kind of just see, what are people picking for the Chargers? And is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? So I'm going to do that right now and look at 5 different mock drafts, some of them 3 rounds, some of them 7 rounds. Now, I have not looked at these, which means there's a possibility that there are players on here that I have not watched. Maybe I didn't prepare enough for these. I apologize, especially as we start getting into like the third, fourth, those kind of rounds. If there's a 7 round mock, I'm not going to know who the guy in the 7th round is, but I'm still going to try to give you my opinion on these. Is it good? Is it bad? Does anybody care? I don't know. Either way, I'm going to try that. So the first one I'm going to start with is Walter Football. I don't usually like anything that they put out. You can use it to your advantage. You get a list of some of who the free agents are, maybe some rankings. But I'm just not typically a huge fan of theirs overall. But still, there's I think a 3 round mock draft in here. So let's get into it. Let's see who they took for the Chargers. I also kind of want to look at some of the other players. Where did they go? I don't think the media knows a whole lot about, these college players this year and where they're going to go, because most of us don't anyway. It's going to be a very difficult season to evaluate these players. So I'm just curious what everybody thinks, other than Trevor Lawrence, which is the consensus number one. Who's going where? What do you think of Fields? What do you think of like Rousseau? What do you think of Stokes? What do you think of Shelvin? So that's just something to keep in mind. Zach Wilson at 2. If you're wondering, Justin Fields is my number 2. Wilson is my number 3. That's only because I've watched only 3 quarterbacks, so I'm not sure. I don't really get the debate of Wilson over Fields. I really just don't. So Fields goes to 4 to the Falcons. Good for them. Bengals get Sewell. Eagles get Pitts. I mean, Zach Ertz is potentially going to be traded very soon, so we'll see. But I don't know. Wow, Elijah Vera Tucker at 7. That is the earliest I've seen him. Okay, so that definitely eliminates that for the Chargers, which means Slater's still on the board. Wow, okay. Elijah Vera Tucker going that early. That is the highest I've seen him go. Caleb Farley, Panthers are still loading up on the defense, I see. Broncos take Surtain. It's either Surtain or Farley these days. JC Horn to the Cowboys. Okay, so the Chargers are not taking a corner, I would imagine. Waddle to the Giants. Okay. Niners take Lance. Good for them. Sitting at 12. Okay, the Chargers take Slater. Oh, they have him at guard. I wonder if there's a reason for that. Good athlete, speed for Slater, fast and nimble, but he can struggle with the length and strength. Yeah, I mean, I think Steven has pointed out that he believes that Vera Tucker can be a bit of a better guard on the interior because has a little bit more play strength. I'll go back and watch that in particular. I didn't watch that specifically to measure who has better play strength, but I'll take Steven's word for it. So, but they still have Slater at guard. Okay, well, I guess they're taking him at guard. All right. This pick has been made a billion times by a billion different mocks at this point. So let's see if anything happens in the second round that's a little bit different. Javonte Williams. Okay. Now, I guess it would depend on who the best player available is here, or the needs that are remaining based on free agency. But for right now, they're going with Williams. I'm just curious if there's any. So Eichenberg went, Newsom went, Osai dropped to the second round. Mac Jones to 40. That's unlikely. Tevin Jenkins to 39. Oof. Kadarius Toney to 37 to the Eagles. So the Eagles are just taking pass catchers now that Wentz is gone. That's nice. All right. So the Chargers are taking Javonte Williams. Look, this is a perfect player team fit. The idea of pairing Williams with Eckler, and now you have Slater to build that offensive line and hopefully an offensive lineman in free agency. This is a really interesting pick. I've done it a lot of times in my mock drafts. Is it good value? No. But I don't think that Staley's going to look at this team and think, well, they took a running back last year, so maybe in the 4th round, so I shouldn't take another one so high. For all we know, Staley has no plans for Kelly, who couldn't get on the field for offense, couldn't stay on the field for special teams. So what is his value heading into this year? If you are able to patch up this offensive line in free agency and then that first pick at number 13, you're okay with me taking Javonte Williams here. Again, is it rich? Sure. Is this really where you want to start taking running backs? Not really. But it's very hard to argue against the team and the prospect fit here. But I still think they should go somewhere else, but I think this could be their best player available at this point, and they do need a second running back. It's just rich. Okay, Asante Samuel to the third round. Okay. It doesn't look like, I wonder if they have their other third round pick on here. Asante Samuel should go in the second round. I don't believe he's a first round guy. Not that it's my preference. I just think that other guys will be taken over him, particularly because of that size. Quincy Roche going to 91 actually doesn't sound too. Are they 97? Am I just crazy? What is their other pick? Maybe it's not on here. Anyway, Asante Samuel going in the third round here would be beautiful for the Chargers, an absolute steal. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But again, there are very few corners in this draft who are able to tackle and willing to tackle and are good tacklers. I think there's some willing guys, but there's not a lot of really great tackling corners in this draft. And Samuel's one of them. I just watched Cameron Bynum from Cal. He's a willing tackling corner, but he's not as good in coverage as Asante Samuel. So Samuel here in the third would be wonderful. So you have Slater, Williams, and Samuel Jr. here. This would be a fantastic draft, in my opinion, even with the rich take of someone in the second round like Williams. I really like this draft. Congratulations, football. I think it's Walter Football. I think it's the first thing you've done that I like. Congratulations. All right, so let's move on to Ryan Wilson from CBS Sports. No idea who Ryan Wilson is. Maybe he's a genius. I don't know. Looks like we're getting 3 rounds here. Farley, Mac Jones, the Panthers. Oh, did he go before Fields? No, he didn't. Okay. So Wilson went second probably. All right. So this would be kind of best case scenario for the Chargers, right? Having 4 quarterbacks go. Well, I guess best case scenario is 5 quarterbacks, but and here it is. Yeah, 5 quarterbacks going before them is wonderful. So who did they get at 13? Rayshawn Slater again. It is what it is. I don't blame anyone for making the selection. Slater is a great tackle. I think he'll be a good guard. I haven't watched anything of him at guard. We don't really know. But I think he projects really well at either position. Some say he could play center as well. Go for it. I just don't see why you would take him away from, tackle or guard. And at this point, I do think the Chargers will have their center, not necessarily of the future, but of the immediate future beforehand. And we'll see what they do in the second round. Darisaw next. By the way, I just want to point out with Darisaw, while I do acknowledge some of the flaws in his pass protection, there is something to be said that this guy got it done and allowed 0 quarterback hits and 0 sacks in college last season. Just saying. I know, sometimes guys just do their job and it doesn't look pretty, but they do their job. And I think some of his skill set really, really will translate to the NFL at least. So I don't know. People are really going with Slater, Vera Tucker, obviously Sewell if he's there for the Chargers. I still wouldn't rule out Darisaw. I think he's a really good selection there, and I'd be happy. Russo to 30. Again, I think Russo could go. I honestly think he can go at 13 to the Chargers. I think it's a good idea. No, if you think he's my edge, I don't know, maybe back half of my top 10. But that's not to say that I don't think that he can improve and be fantastic in this system with the Chargers. Staley using him kind of like they did at Miami, but more efficiently, and then working alongside or next to or whatever with Joey Bosa, and being a guy who can hold up really well against the run, which no one else on this roster can do except for Joey Bosa. Lieutenant Mosu, yes, but we just haven't seen that consistently. We haven't seen him play enough games to be like, okay, yeah, he's a long-term starter for 16 games a season, if not more. So a guy like Rousseau for the Chargers, with Jay Rodgers and Gift Smith coaching him up, I think it's a really good spot. However, I do think he's going to fall just because, he didn't play last season. But again, the season that he did play the year before, he was only second behind Chase Young in sacks, as Steven pointed out to me. I mean, if he had played like that again this year, top 5 pick, he'd be your Chase Young this year, perhaps. But Buffalo getting him at 30, I think, is a pretty good haul. Tony again to the second round. That's fine. Bateman some of these receivers are getting so close. I'm really looking for a guy like Elijah Moore in here for the Chargers. So this time the Chargers get Peyton Turner, the edge out of Houston. We just had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. He is a fantastic interviewer, high character guy. He's also very high motor. And I know those are just non kind of film things. What does he do against the pass rush? How does he do against the run. I get that. But the Chargers he has incredible size, right? An athletic upside, high motor, high character. That is very much so a Chargers kind of pick right there, just based on that alone. If he went to Notre Dame, they would pick him at 13. So Peyton Turner, I really like him. He checks a lot of boxes for the Chargers. He moved all over the place for that Houston defense. Some say his worst, I think TDN and PFF say his worst game was against BYU. Go watch the game against BYU and Zach Wilson. He had a pretty solid game there, whether it be, some amazing short area quickness to sack Wilson, to something, I forget, he cut across the line of scrimmage to stonewall Wilson at the goal line. There's a lot of upside here. And I think you guys would really enjoy watching him if you haven't yet. Javonte Williams goes to the Bucks at 64. They're just going to get a bunch of hammers. Eric Stokes in the third round. I just think Stokes is being underrated, guys. I don't get what it is about Tyson Campbell. The Patriots have a forfeited pick in this round. That's beautiful. I'm a huge fan of Eric Stokes. I mean, to the point where, you watch him the year before this year, where he's even more of a raw prospect, and he's going against LSU, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I think Stokes had like one ball caught that was thrown his way and a couple of pass defenses. Otherwise, he was pretty solid. And if you can find a guy, a season in his penultimate season, I believe it was what it is, who's covering Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and holding his own, and you get him in the third round, like, I think it's pretty impressive. He just ran a 4.25, I believe, and that's unofficial, I know. But even if it's a 4.35, 4.4, this guy's got that track speed, and he did run track. And if he's there in the third round, oof. Elijah Molden, another great corner going to the Jaguars. I think he's just kind of limited athletically, but he's a great coverage corner. I kind of put Molden and Samuel sort of in that same realm of, they're really good coverage corners and they're really good at their jobs. They're just athletically or size-wise, they're just a little bit limited, and that's why they're going to fall just a little bit. Dwayne Escaridge is a guy people have really liked. I haven't watched him yet. So they're going to go with Trey Smith out of Tennessee. This kind of feels like a Chargers pick because, well, they need him. This is the dreaded third round. I believe Tom Telesco sold his soul for Keenan Allen all those years ago, because everything else in the third round since has been pretty bad. And I mean, like, bad. To the point where they got rid of their third round pick last year, and that was almost a good thing. But Trey Smith here, if I'm not mistaken, has some not insane, very tough and dangerous health issues, I believe, related to blood clots as well. So that's partially why I think he's falling here anyway. I need to rewatch him. I only started watching him on YouTube, and then we finally got access to the All 22. I started to rewatch the interior offensive linemen, because it's very hard to take, some of these interior guys and grade them based on YouTube film. Like, you can't see the little nuanced stuff. Maybe a tackle, running back, sure. But interior guys, you really want that All 22. So now that I have it, I'll go back and watch him. So, I wasn't a huge fan of his at first, but again, I wasn't a huge fan of Landon Dickerson when I watched it on YouTube. Watched it on All 22. Whoa, way different. So, I want to give Trey Smith that same kind of due diligence, if you will. Do they have their second pick on here? They don't. Okay, so they went with Slater. Then they went with the other guy. I already forgot who it was. Peyton Turner. Woo. Slater, Peyton Turner, followed by where is it? Trey Smith. I like it. You're building up in the trenches. That's what Staley said he wanted to do. Fine by me. I get it. I totally understand. 2 linemen, 1 defensive lineman, edge kind of guy. I like it. So here comes Pro Football Focus. I'm sure they'll find a way to slight Justin Herbert in here somewhere. Trevor Lawrence is in the fields. Jamar Chase. Kyle Pitts to the Falcons. Okay, like, it's weird. He's probably their best player available. I just don't know why you would take him there. I actually grew up more on Tony Gonzalez. I was old enough to watch him play against the Chiefs or with the Chiefs, but I really grew up liking football when Tony Gonzalez was on the Falcons. So this would be kind of cool, but I don't like that. Mac Jones to the Eagles. Okay. Devonta Smith to the Lions. I don't know. I just feel like the Lions need to start from the interior, move out. Wilson to the Panthers. That's a good get for them. Broncos get Trey Lance. I'm curious if, what a stupid stat. So Drew Lock averaged 3.6 yards per rush on both scrambles and design runs last season. Trey Lance averaged 6.8 yards per rush in 2019. Yeah, in college. I mean, of course, the one guy in the pros is going to be, granted, 3.6 yards per rush isn't that great, but he did it in the pros. So Kwity Paye to the Giants. I like that. I think that's another option for the Chargers as well. Another guy with a ton of upside, a little bit older, but a great story, high motor, incredible athleticism. I believe if he had tested, it was going to be like not a record breaking, but a really good 3-cone drill and a 40, I think, time is what they were pegging him at. Just an incredible athlete. So I could see it. Oh, look, Rayshawn Slater to the Chargers. This has become, I don't know, like the Laramie Tunsil of 2016. You know, everyone's just mocking him. Here's what I want to know what you guys think. We assume that Tom Telesco will take a lineman here. I think there's a lot of pressure on him to take a lineman here. But what about his history suggests he's going to take an offensive lineman here? Like, really? Other than if Tom Telesco's job wasn't on the line this year, and I think it is, what was the reason that he's taking an offensive lineman here? I mean, sure, to make the offense better and to protect Justin Herbert, but why not do it in the second round if you're Telesco? Based on his history, like, why do we think he's going to do that? I don't know. Anyway, whoa, Barmore to 16 to the Cardinals. And we had a good set of games. Oh man, the Raiders getting Rousseau. Listen, this would be a very much so. If the Chargers can get away with taking Rousseau because they have great talent around him and a great coaching staff and, as we assume, a great system, the Raiders are the opposite. They have Gus Bradley and Max Crosby, who's I think kind of underrated, but he ain't Joey Bosa. Cleveland Farrell? Like, what are you doing? What is this? You know, the Raiders should take a more, proven kind of guy. And I think Rousseau has incredible upside. Don't get me wrong. He could be a superstar. But are you trusting him enough to take him at 17? And you're the Raiders? I don't know. Micah Parsons fell. Waddle to 20. That's the latest I've seen him. Azeez Ojulari. So another thing I would consider too, if I were the Chargers, is trading back to this spot, this 19, 20, 21, 20, maybe not 22, but kind of in that area, and taking an edge guy. Because if you could trade back a little bit, get that extra third, extra second, right? And then take Azeez Ojulari. Staley would have a lot of fun with this guy. Or Jalen Phillips. Two guys that I have ahead of Rousseau, by the way. They're just better edge rushers. I think Jalen Phillips is the better pure edge rusher. But Azeez Ojulari, while good at his job anyway, he's like that athletic freak. He's also very comfortable dropping into coverage. He can just kind of do everything for Staley. And I think Staley would have so much fun with Azeez Ojulari. Rondale Moore. I personally like Rondale Moore a lot. I know a lot of people do. A lot of people don't. Understandable. All those injuries, for the last 2 seasons. A little bit rough, right? And that's why he's falling. But I think, for him to walk into Northwestern and Ohio State and put up 400 yards in those 2 games in his first season in college, can you imagine? You just walk into Northwestern and Ohio State even. 400 yards. Hi, my name's Rondale Moore. Some people compare him to, I think PFF compared him to Steve Smith, who can kind of run like a Tyreek Hill. I don't know. Now, does he have all that nuance? Does he have that deep route nuance like a De'Ami Brown, or the intermediate nuance like any of these other, better receivers ahead of him? Not necessarily, but the kid is a weapon. And here's a funny thing. Your out route will tell me a lot about who you are as a receiver, right? Are you the guy who kind of, saunters over and cuts in lazy? Are you rounding it? You watch more against Ohio State and it's just up 90, perfect turn, boom. And that tells me a lot about you. I don't know if it's just kind of a weird thing for me, but that tells me a lot about who you are, right? Can you run that route? Are you sharp on that route? And if you are, you can probably sharp on other routes. You're probably sharp on other routes. You're not being lazy. You're not rounding. You know what you're doing. You've practiced. Up, go to the cone, go to the sideline, whatever. whatever you've been doing in your spare time, you've been practicing. All right, so the next one is a 7-round mock draft. Let's see how this goes. Oh boy, look at all these ads. I am not sponsored by Dr. Squatch. So whatever this is, 7-round mock. Again, like I said, I don't know who most of these guys are going to be once we get past round 4. I apologize. Eagles trade up for Justin Fields. I don't mind that. I know Alex would hate that because he does not like Ohio State and he's an Eagles fan, but here we are. Trey Lance, Penei Sewell, Devonta Smith. Who traded up for him? Oh, the Dolphins. Oh, they traded back. I like that. That's a smart move for the Dolphins. Trade back. If I had the Dolphins, I'd do that. Trade back, take Smith, Chase, Pitts, whoever's there. Hello, Tua. Which one do you want? Because we get probably 2 of them, right? One of those 3 is going to sit there. Probably 2 of those 3 are going to be sitting there for them. Lions take Waddle. Panthers take Darrisaw. That's interesting. So they have him as their O2 oxygen prospect. Their offensive tackle 2 prospect. He can make up ground on Rayshawn Slater technically. Slater cannot make up ground on Darrisaw physically. Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that. I do think Slater is the better tackle, better offensive lineman prospect overall. But you can project and teach Darrisaw, I think. Some of those things you can't teach, that physicality, the size, right? Just in Boston College when he's 40 yards downfield, blocking a guy 3 times in a row into the end zone, right? Slater doesn't quite have that. And that's why I think someone could take Darrisaw over Slater. But I don't know. We'll see. Darrisaw also played last season. That's another thing to consider. If Darrisaw goes before Slater in this draft, wouldn't surprise me. He played. They have film on him last year. They know he's healthy. They know what he can do. Slater, it's been a while. Granted, a while ago, he was also stopping Chase Young. But, we'll see. Oh, look, the Chargers take Rayshawn Slater. Guys, this is what I get for not looking through all of these. Sorry. You know the drill. They took Slater. All right. Round 2. This is where things get more interesting. Who is this? AJ Schultz. Everyone would say that right. Schultz. Everyone would say Schultz. My last name, Schoon. My last name is Schoon, but they would say Schoon. I don't know why. Does anyone watch that movie Schindler's List? No. Oh, wait. 17-32. Oh, this is still the first round. Ooh, Jalen Mayfield. I have not watched Mayfield, but Steven doesn't like him, and that's good enough for me. So, we'll see. Okay, second round. Eichenberg did this. I think Eichenberg is just such a safe pick, and that's good and bad. Everything that comes with being called a safe pick is good and bad. Good floor, not the highest ceiling. Athletic traits, pretty sound overall, though. Yes. And I think the second round would be a really great place to take him. Tyson Campbell for the Bengals, have at it. He got roasted in the 3 games that I watched, and others as well. Jalen Phillips. Oh, Jalen Phillips fell that far. Oh, Tony fell that far. Oh. Okay, Terence Marshall to the Chargers here. Look, if you clear up your guy in your offensive line in free agency, be 1 pick or 1 like legit free agent, and then maybe a depth guy. And then you take Slater in the first round. Again, I think you are free to go to take a skill guy. I have not watched Terence Marshall, not because I think he's not very good. Just never got around to it. And, I'm not really looking at receivers for the Chargers right now. But okay. I like it. Oh, but then they passed on. Steven's not going to be happy that they passed on Landon Dickerson for Terrence Marshall. People are starting to throw out some serious compliments to Landon Dickerson. I believe I've seen like Bleacher Report and somebody else. They got, they compiled some rankings for these guys, and they've had Landon Dickerson like a top 10, top 20 prospect in this draft. And I kind of believe them. I kind of agree with them on film. Fantastic prospect. Those injuries are concerning, right? Kind of like a Rondale Moore, but Dickerson is much better at his job than Moore. Although Moore has, one hell of a ceiling. Deontay Brown to the Ravens. That is actually not a bad fit. If Deontay Brown goes to the Ravens, that's not the worst thing. I've seen him mocked to the Chargers. I think that's a terrible idea unless the Chargers are changing what they're doing. Otherwise, for better or worse, the Dan Feeney was at least able to get in space, right, on these screen blocks. Deontay Brown, like, he can barely, navigate the fridge. Well, he can navigate a fridge, but I don't know if he can navigate around the fridge. Davion Nixon at 69. I wonder if this is the rest of the. Is this just the rest of the third round? Or is this... Am I going crazy? Yes, Tyler, you are going. Oh, the Chargers trade pick 97 to the New York Giants in exchange for Evan Engram. Okay. Why not just take Joe Tryon? Joe Tryon at 97, if he's there, would be fantastic for the Chargers. Powerful guy, very athletic. Have you seen a video of this guy? You know, some guys are like, okay, he's a defensive end or he's an edge guy or he's a defensive tackle or whatever. And they take off their shirt and it's like, I'm sorry, what position do you play? I mean, this guy is ripped as all hell. Super explosive, strong guy. And they would basically give him up for Evan Engram. I don't like that at all. Especially because I do think they're signing Hunter Henry. So no, I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it in my draft. It's different. I'll give him that. I have not seen that before, so good for them. Oh, whoa. We're going way down here. Oh, this is so ugly. The Chargers take Chaz Surratt, linebacker of North Carolina. Great. They do need linebacker depth. What do I think of him? I don't know. I haven't watched him, but they do need linebacker depth. So I like that. Okay. On 4 again. I hate the way this is formatted, PFN. I'm just going to go to the 5th round. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and be like, I don't know who he's good though the entire time. Robert Hainsey, offensive lineman, Notre Dame. Hey, there's your Notre Dame pick. Yay. What a great mock. I think it's actually legit. Like, I know the running joke is that Tom Telesco takes a guy from Notre Dame. I think he'll actually take a guy from Notre Dame. Liam Eichenberg, Aaron Banks, Tommy Tremble, apparently Robert Hainsey, who I have not watched. A lot of options for them. All right, I'm going to move on. Last mock draft, guys. If you're still here, thank you. We're going to go through Chad Reuter's 4-round mock draft. The Saints trade up for a QB in round 1. Not unexpected. You know, they need one. And the Chargers. The Saints have shown that they'll move up pretty significantly before for Davenport, which was a weird trade. Anywho, wonder where they moved up to. Lawrence, Wilson, Chase, Lance, Sewell, Pitts, Parsons, Fields to the Panthers. That's a great pick. Surtain, Farley. If in case anyone's wondering, Farley is my corner 1, followed by Horn, followed by Surtain. It's very close, though. It's not like I don't like Surtain, and it's a big difference between Farley and Surtain. Farley, I think March 27th, is going to have his pro day. Supposedly, he believes he ran a 4.22 in high school. If you can run that fast, he should be the top corner for most guys. Granted, if you don't like his tape, his discipline, his coverage, and whatnot, that's fine. But Farley's a guy who has just a significant amount of athleticism that I don't know. I just kind of would take him over Surtain, especially if it's that close. Like for me, all 3 guys are close. I actually have Horn graded higher than Farley, right? Because part of what we put into these grades is tackling. Farley's not much of a tackler. Horn will love to kill you, right? So that puts him a little bit higher in the grades than Farley. But Farley with that athleticism, that upside, in terms of ranking him without grades, I might take Farley. Anywho, Rousseau to the Niners, that's potentially... I feel like if they still had Saleh, maybe. I don't know how their defense is going to be without him. Rayshawn Slater at 13. Guys, I'm moving on. Moving on. Aziz, Vera Tucker to 24. Haven't seen much of the Chargers trading back, though. And I don't think... We'll see. For every player, for every fan that says, oh, they should trade back, right? Get more picks. Someone needs to want to trade up. And teams want to be able to have, less guys. More picks. Stupid video. Hold on. There, go away. You want more picks, especially in an offseason where there's so little cap. What am I saying? So round 2, blah, 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 blah. Liam Eichenberg's going in the 2nd round. Makes sense. But I think he can go earlier. Chargers take a tight end. I don't know why people keep doing this. They just see, oh, Hunter Henry's a free agent. He won't return. And it's possible he doesn't return, but why not? What's the reason? The Chargers have the cap space. They have the need. They can't replace him easily. and Telesco takes care of his own. I don't know why this is really a consideration, unless you want to tell me that they have 2 tight ends, in which case I'd tell you they kind of have Donald Parham. I think Steven Anderson's a restricted free agent, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't like the idea of taking him. I have not watched Pat Fryermuth here. I've watched Tremble, especially because he's a Notre Dame guy. But not liking a tight end in the second round. And if I were to take a tight end in the second round, let's see if Brevin Jordan went. Trevon Moehrig to the Broncos. Oh, that's so nice. Moehrig's a good player. Humphrey. The whole Creed Humphrey thing kind of went, huh? Everyone had Creed Humphrey going to the Chargers, and now it's Landon Dickerson. It's very interesting. Samuel Cosme to the second round, and he's going to go to the Colts. Oh, that's so good. The Colts are going to develop him. He's going to be so good. Asante Samuel to the Steelers. Amon-Ra St. Brown is not going to solve your issues at wide receiver. Round 3. Okay. Let's see if it's not an offensive lineman. If it's not an interior offensive lineman here. It's an interior offensive lineman. Congratulations. It's Josh Myers. Look, third round as your starting center. I assume that's what they're doing with him, especially because they have listed it as a center. Fine, I guess. But Myers, to me, has significant issues with balance. And I don't know why it is with me. Maybe because I was a gymnast before and I coached gymnastics and I'm all about balance. This guy was falling on us as I asked way too many times. There's a point in my notes where I'm typing. He fell again. He fell again. Oh, he's on his butt again. Oh, he fell again. No. Not really a huge fan of that. But in the third round, I think it's okay. He's a good line, like he's, good prospect. I certainly wouldn't take him in the second round. So if he's there in the third, oh look, finally a comp pick in here. Kelvin Joseph, pick 99 to the Chargers. I have not watched any of him. There are some fans who have liked both Joseph and Newsome. I've not been able to get my hands on all 22 for either of them, despite the fact that I have hundreds of prospects and they're all 22. For some reason, Joseph and Newsome, no all 22, only YouTube. And I will not grade a corner, maybe a receiver, but I will not grade a corner or any kind of DB based on YouTube footage. Because guess what? He's like here when the play starts, and then he goes here, and he's gone. And you're supposed to tell me he's good in coverage. Maybe the ball goes his way, and finally comes into frame. Otherwise, he's over here. So I always kind of find it funny when fans really like some corners, but I don't really see a whole lot of all 22 for these guys. Not that you need all 22, but you kind of do. Okay, cool. Round 4. Last one, guys. If you're still here, thank you very much. I know this is not maybe the most entertaining thing, but being able to go through is pretty cool. Oh my gosh. If they could stop playing videos, that'd be great. Pete Schrager, shut up. Okay. Last one. Who are they taking? I'm going to guess corner. Oh, okay. Oh, they just took a corner. Never mind. Okay. Hamilcar Rashid. I like this here in the 4th round. Look, I'm not a big fan of his 2020 tape. I have not watched him in 2019 yet. Now, Steven grades him as an off-ball linebacker. Technically, he's an edge, and he was edge, more like a full-time edge in 2020. But Steven grades him as an off-ball linebacker. And, maybe. Certainly could do worse. Had a great 2019 season and was completely blanked in 2020. I think Hamilcar Rashid was 3rd or 4th in sacks behind Young, Rousseau, somebody. I think it was him. And then this past season, I think 0 sacks, right? Interesting case. So I'm not a fan of his based on his 2020 tape, but I'll have to watch what he does in 2019. High upside kind of guy. If you can get that old season back, awesome. But we'll see. I believe he put on weight this past season, and it didn't go well for him. So maybe you can maximize him. There's no comp picks for the Chargers here. Okay, so that is it, guys. That is it for the Chargers. Did you have a favorite mock? I kind of like the Slater, Williams, Samuel mock, but there's a lot of good stuff in here. The one thing I'll disagree with overall is taking a tight end until day 3. Unless Hunter Henry doesn't return, But either way, I think that's still rich. Taking someone in the second round is just a little bit rich for a tight end when this team has so many needs. So we'll see. That's it for me. Please make sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for the rest of our videos. Take care.